Hello, welcome to Stitching with Charlie. I am Charlie. My pronouns are she and her. So you're joining me for Flosstube 3. We are rattling through them. I'm back. Life has been a little bit difficult the last couple of weeks. Unexpected time in hospital, not very well, chronic illness shenanigans, all sorts of things. But my stitching has been bringing me a lot of joy and a lot of a sense of calm and peace in the chaos. So I'm grateful for that, and grateful for all of you on Flosstube and the community. I've been really enjoying watching everybody's videos. So what have we got today? We have huge progress on my Kingfisher piece. I'm so excited to show you. And we're going to talk about the new Lola Crow Extraordinary Bird stitch along. Don't worry, I am going to put like spoiler warnings in and the chapters so you can skip ahead if you don't want to see it. But before we dive into the stitching, I have a couple of thank yous. So firstly to Laura at Stitching by the Shore. She hosted a Zoom last week, which I went to. She posted it in her Flosstube the week before and put the details in her Facebook group. It was free, anyone could go along. It was the first Zoomy, stitchy get-together I've ever done. I was a little bit nervous, but everyone was really, really lovely. And it was really nice to connect with people across the world. I think I was the only UK person. There was lots of people from America and Canada. It was sort of afternoon their time, but that fit well for me because it was evening here. And we just stitched together for a couple of hours. It was so lovely. Laura called it her April Friends Day rather than April Fool's Day. So I wanted to say thank you to Laura for hosting that, and for being so welcoming to newbies kind of coming along. And if you have the opportunity to go to a Zoom or you see that someone's hosting one, don't be shy. Like, it is can feel nerve-wracking of talking to strangers, but lots of people just hanging out really, and you don't have to say anything, you can just listen. I learned loads of things about material and all sorts of things that people were stitching on, so it was a really lovely time, and I met a few other new other Flosstubers as well, so I've got lots of new people to watch, and it's really nice to kind of have met sort of in person, as it were, even through the virtual world. I was stitching on my Kingfisher piece when we were chatting and listening to what people were saying. In the space of 2 hours, I managed to put 5 knots in the back that I didn't realise. And then I was like, I can't pull it all out, and that is more knots than I'm normally like. If I spot a knot, I will take the stitches out to fix them normally, but I was like, I'm not taking 2 hours of work out. So I like to think there's like a little bit of community stitched into my Kingfisher now. Just don't look at the back. The second thank you is to Jason at Jason CrossStitches. Jason gave me a really lovely shout out in his last video, and I saw a little flurry of new visitors to my channel, so thank you so much for all of you. If you have made it here from Jason, very welcome to you all. I'm grateful that you're here. If you haven't seen Jason's work already, he's doing amazing stuff. He's a fairly new stitcher like me, but is already onto the long dogs and big pieces and colour conversions. He's doing incredible stuff. So do go and check him out if you haven't seen him already. And thirdly, a thank you to all of you. This morning we hit 150 subscribers, which absolutely blew me away. I'm so excited. I'm excited that you're all here. If you made it here via Jason, or if you made it here via us meeting at the Zoom call, or via other methods, welcome. I'm so glad you're here, and let's talk some stitching. So we've got whips, we've got new starts, we've got lots of things to talk about, but first I want to talk about haul. So I have got a big order on the way of material and supplies. It hasn't arrived yet. It also includes all my Lola Crow stitch along thread and material, and it's not here yet. So I'm like itching to get it. I keep checking the post, but it's been over a week and nothing yet. But hopefully that will come this week. But I do have a new pattern that I picked up this week. So I wanted to say thank you to Envis at Sleepy Goblin. Their channel is Sleepy Goblin. Please do check them out. They had done a Flosstube a little bit early because last week was Trans Day of Visibility, and they'd put up their Flosstube specifically early because they wanted to highlight that there was a charity pattern fundraiser going on. And I'm so glad that you did, because I wouldn't have known about it and I picked up the pattern. So thank you so much. Please do check out Envis's channel. They're doing some really fun things, some creepy things and some floral things, and yeah, all the fun things. So I picked up the pattern. It's bad stitch called Metamorphosis. Also, Envis is stitching the Stitch for Pride 2025 by D20, and I keep like, I want to stitch it, I want to stitch it. I have too many projects. I don't think I can add another big project or another big stitch along. But next month in the world of cross stitching, for the June edition, which will come out for us on digital kind of mid-April, they're doing a small Pride selection, because June is obviously Pride month. So I have said to myself I will do something small from that, if there's any that I like, rather than jumping into the big Stitch for Pride 2025. But I'm loving how that's coming together and excited to watch the progress. So the pattern is Metamorphosis by Bad Stitch. They are it was a pattern that they did as a sort of charity release. There was also 2 patterns from previous years. So if you donated a certain amount, I think if you donated more than $15, you got this year's pattern and the last year's patterns as well. So I've picked that up and I'm excited to stitch it. If you want to see it already stitched, a channel you should absolutely go and check out is the Dace Man. So he has the most incredible range of projects, ranging from, like such variety, does loads of full coverage. One of his pieces has got over 1 million stitches in it, obviously not yet in, but the planned whole piece is over 1 million stitches. That's the biggest project I've seen ever, like anywhere. And he's also doing a long dog 1/1 on 56 count. So some really amazing, ambitious projects. And he has just released his 1-year anniversary whip parade on Flosstube. So go and check it out because it's absolutely fascinating and the pieces are absolutely beautiful. He also does Twitch streaming and has a Discord server. So I'm finding out about all these other places to go for cross-stitch content. I don't know how Twitch works and I don't know how Discord works, but I might investigate it because I would love to see him stitching some things, some live. So yeah, please do go check out that. But he has already stitched Metamorphosis and it's at the end of his latest whip parade. So quick, very impressed, but it's absolutely beautiful, lovely pattern. So I'm adding it to my to-do list. In terms of other haul I had, so last Flosstube I told you that I'd used some books vouchers to get myself some new books. They have arrived, which is very exciting. When we get to plans, I'll show you which of the patterns that I have decided to start. I had hoped to have already had a start already, but I'm waiting for material for that being arrived. Okay, so what have we been stitching on? New starts. If you've been here before, you know that we play the Wheel of Magnet Mayhem, which is me continuing to make lots of little magnet cross stitches, and I spin a wheel when I finish one and we start another one. Last time we spun Pizza Pusheen, which is the little cat Pusheen eating a slice of pizza. I haven't finished it yet, so we won't be spinning the wheel today, but here's where I'm up to. I feel like cross stitch, you have to trust the process, right? Like this currently feels like a bit of a weird ghost blob, rather than what will turn into a Pusheen. But we trust the process. I did give you the pixel art that we're following last time. So if you're stitching along, the designer is Rios Bracelets on Instagram, and they also have a website. So you can stitch along with me if you'd like. If you are doing so, a quick couple of things that as I've started stitching, I've realized I'm going to do. I'm changing a couple of the colors in the stripes that come up the side. So this is one of the ones that I've already stitched from the CrossStitch Pusheen pack. And you can see the stripes on the tail are a slightly different color. So I'm going to do that in the newer one. And then also the whiskers on the pattern for the Pizza Pusheen, they do go sort of diagonal at some point, and I'm just going to keep them straight for the ease of being able to kind of cut around them and keep not having too many kind of sticky outy bits on a kind of flimsy magnet. So I'm hoping next time I see you that this will be finished. But at the moment I am limiting how much I'm stitching on this canvas. For some reason, stitching these little things is giving me more kind of repetitive strain in one hand. And so, which I'm not getting when I'm stitching kind of in a hoop or on bigger material. So I will, I'm kind of limiting how often I stitch on these, which is why the kind of progress on the magnets has slowed a little. Also, I'm getting distracted by all the other amazing things there are to stitch. So I had one other new start. I had picked up this piece of linen. I picked up this piece of linen from my craft shop. It was an offcut. And I thought, I know what I want to do on that. I want to do kind of Halloween-y silhouette stitch. So this pattern is Halloween Tree by Chinotto, and it's from the Just CrossStitch Halloween magazine, but from 2021 edition. I had seen it and I thought, oh, I will stitch that on a piece of dark fabric. I'd bought this offcut. I promptly brought the offcut home and then realised I measured it. It's way too small. So that's a real newbie error, I think. But what I decided to do is stitch it over one instead of over two. So if we zoom in here, I'm not prepared today. I didn't bring anything to put behind it, and the window's behind me. So hopefully you can see, yeah, I'm stitching it over one. So I've kind of got almost a third of the tree done. And it's absolutely super duper tiny. It's really good fun. First time stitching on linen for me, really enjoying it. I'm not sure my eyes are enjoying stitching over one on 32 count. But yeah, I'm really having a lot of fun with that one, and we'll see that progress. Planning that for a little Halloween project, a Halloween present for someone. So hopefully we'll get that finished. Unlike my Kingfisher, I've not given myself a time limit to kind of do a full coverage piece in 2 months. So a little bit longer, I think, for presents now. I'm going to kind of just not give myself a time limit. I'm just going to say, I'm stitching this for this person, and at some point in the future, they will get it as a present for a birthday or Christmas. I think trying to do something by a deadline is probably not sensible, particularly as the number of projects you have grow and grow and grow. Okay, I've got my whips to show you, but first of all, I wanted to ask for some input and some for advice. So I'm going to show you a sock. I haven't gone mad. There is a reason, and it is clean, I promise. Okay, so this is one of my favorite pairs of socks. It's actually a kind of Christmas, it comes from like a Christmas set. And it's got this lovely stitching of like leaves and vines and a deer. I don't know, is that a panda or a raccoon? There's some like bears and squirrels and things. The reason I'm showing you one of my socks is because I would like to add a new piece, a monochromatic piece, where you kind of stitch, you know, different motifs. But I haven't found one that I'm absolutely in love with yet. So I'm looking for something that is in this sort of style. Like I like leaves, I like vines, I like little animals. That's the kind of thing that I would like to stitch, I think. So if anyone knows any designs out there, please do let me know, because I'm kind of on the lookout for adding a kind of classic monochromatic stitch to my whips. The closest I found so far are, so Leah at Sticks, Strings and Other Things. I find your channel name is so hard to pronounce. Sticks, Strings and Other Things. We met at the Zoom call I was at last week, which was really lovely, and I caught up with her channel, and she's stitching Borderquin Birdies by Modern Folk Embroidery, and it's beautiful. She's doing it in like a dark blue, and it's absolutely lovely, and I think that's pretty close. So if I can't find anything kind of closer to kind of what I'm looking for, that might have to go on the whip list. And then the other one is various people are stitching Fish and Chips, which is a long dog, which I thought was called Fish and Chips, and obviously Fish and Chips is a riff on Fish and Chips, and I only realized it wasn't called Fish and Chips when I commented on someone's video saying, I love your fish and chips, and then she replied saying, yes, the fish and chips. So I might keep calling it fish and chips. Obviously being British, we love fish and chips over here. So, you know, but I think, yeah, fish and chips, fish and chips and Border Queen Birdie are like the closest I've found so far. But I would, you know, if there's any other ideas, then I'd really appreciate the input. Okay, moving on to whips. What have we been stitching on? So I have my Kingfisher to show you, but the other one I've been working on, this is Happy Homes by Poppy Benner, and it's from the CrossStitch favorites magazine, from their like card issue, their 2024 card issue. So they're designed to be stitched as cards, but I decided to pick 4 of my favorites and stitch them as little squares next to each other. So last time you saw this, I just had a kind of a little start in the middle of just one square. I've now finished that square and done all the back stitching and started on the next square as well. So I really love this design. This is this is what I call my happy stitch. It is just a stitch for because I feel like it, because it's fun. I feel like a lot of my other projects, I wanted them to have a purpose, or they're kind of bigger projects, and I just needed a stitch that was like, I like that, it's fun and colourful, and then I didn't need to have a reason for wanting to stitch it. So I don't know whether I will frame it or whether I'll try and scrapbook it or what we'll do with it, but at the moment I'm really enjoying the process. So it's stitched as is. I think if I was just stitching the first, you know, if I was just stitching this one individually without it going into kind of a multiple ones, I think I probably would have changed the sky colour. So the sky is a really kind of dark blue, sort of stylized, rather than the, you know, the colour of an actual sky. But my plan is to do 4 in a row, and what I've done is laid them out in a way that I think that they will kind of complement each other. So that dark blue of the sky is going to be the same colour, is going to be used in the 4th one, in kind of checkerboard, and then the 2nd and 4th one are going to have the same sky colour, and then the 1st and the 3rd will have different sky colours. And then also the 1st and the 3rd will both have grass, one kind of slanting upwards, like this one's going up, and then the other one slants downwards. So I'm hoping when all 4 of them are together, the different, you know, they won't all have the same sky colour, and that kind of stylized will look nice. So changes from the pattern, I have used the called for flosses because when I started this, I just didn't have enough. I think you could pull this from stash really easily. You know, it's all kind of bold colours and abstract, or sort of just modern, so you don't need to buy the called for, but I just didn't have enough. I didn't really have any greens in my stash when I started it. The only changes I've made, I feel like this is going to be a running theme when we talk about backstitch. The chart is in full cross, and I decided to do fractional stitches in where the kind of flags are, and also where the path is. There's fractional stitches in there. It's just I really prefer when you do the back stitch that you don't see all the colours kind of peeping through out of the back of the black, or whatever you're using to outline. That's just my personal preference, and I think I'm finding it fairly easy to kind of substitute in where the fractionals need to go. So really enjoying this one. On to the 2nd now. I'm planning to do four in a row, and then yeah, that's that project. And then my other whip, which I'm really excited to show you, is my Kingfisher Frame. So this is Carol Thornton. It's from the World of Cross-Stitching magazine, April edition. And it feels like obviously we're only just in April, but the digital copies do come out kind of 6 weeks in advance. So this one came out mid-February. I've had a couple of people comment to say, oh my goodness, you're stitching that so quickly. And I am stitching it quickly, but also I have the digital. And so the digital it did come out, you know, kind of about 8 weeks, coming up for 8 weeks ago. So I have a full bird to show you. So this is where we were last time, and yeah, I had done mostly kind of, I was working on the branch and things like that, and now, so excited to show you, we have a full bird in, and I am so thrilled with the progress. Like, he is just such a chubby little, oh, I love him so much. So I haven't done the beak yet, but I'm mostly done most of the wing and the breast and the face and the head. Then most of the rest of the pattern over here will be kind of abstract shapes. So I'm hoping once I get the beak finished and the wing finished, then the rest of it will be more of a quicker stitch. So it has taken quite a lot of concentration, especially the kind of the face and the eye. So I'd asked for some help I had to ask for some help from the Reddit cross-stitching community about how to do the eye. There are fractional stitches in here, but they're just, in the pattern, they're just the diagonal, and I wasn't sure of the best approach. What we decided to do, or what the kind of consensus was after chatting with other people, was to try and do 2 3/4 stitches back to back, so that you had both of the colours. I tried that and it looked really messy. I don't know whether it's because of the count of fabric I'm doing or just because I'm not used to it. So what I did instead was I did 1/4 stitch and 1 3/4 stitches of the 2 different colours, and then I just worked my way kind of from the centre of the eye outwards, and just chose, using my best judgment, which one I wanted to be the 3/4 stitch and which colour I wanted to be the 1/4 stitch. So I am so happy with the progress on this. I'm really chuffed with it. The reason I have made so much progress is because I realised when I spoke to you last time, I said, this is a present for someone on their birthday at the beginning of June. And then I looked at the stitch count and it's 140 by 140, which would be kind of over 19,000 stitches. But there's a little bit in the corner that's not stitched. So I estimate it's about 18,000 stitches. I don't have it in Pattern Keeper or anything like that, so I can't tell you exactly how many stitches it is. And then I thought, 2 months. And then I realized, 18,000 stitches in 2 months is quite a lot. And so I made it my focus piece and I lit a fire under my bottom and I got on with it. Anyway, it's beautiful. I'm really loving it. I'm so happy. It is intended for a present for my mum for her birthday in June, and the story behind it is that in lockdown in the UK, when we were allowed to meet up outside but not inside, we went for a walk near my house, and I live very near a river, and for a few years I'd been seeing kingfishers fairly regularly, not like all the time, but like probably at least one a year for a couple of years, when I was a bit healthier and going for more walks and stuff along the river. My mum had never properly seen one, and we were walking socially distanced, and we went over a bridge, and I spotted a kingfisher, and it was sitting in the tree. It was just sitting there. Like normally you kind of see them and they just flash past. Anyway, I grabbed my mum and I pulled her in and I said, look. And she said, Charlie, social distancing. And I said, I don't care, there's a kingfisher, which is so unlike me. I was really strict on social distancing. I took COVID precautions really seriously. Actually, I just had my COVID booster jab this weekend. So I took it incredibly. I think this might be the only time I broke social distancing because I was really hot on it. But I knew my mum had never seen a kingfisher, and it was such a special moment, and it stayed there for ages, and we just stood and watched it, and it was lovely. So I love kingfishers. I've got lots of kingfisher art in my house. When I saw this, I really wanted to stitch it, and I thought I'm going to do it for a present for my mum, to remember that kind of special moment. So yeah, very happy with it, really happy to make it the focus piece and kind of push on and get it finished. Okay, well, those are my only whips. I've actually only got 2 whips because I have just been, gun-ho on the Kingfisher frame to kind of get it finished. Also, I had hoped to start my new pieces, but the fabric is in the post still, so I have nothing to stitch on. So I'm still waiting. But let's talk Lola Crow. So spoiler alert, I haven't started stitching Lola Crow, but I am going to show the first drop that came out on Friday. So if you are also wanting to stitch it or want to buy it and you want to be surprised what it is, please skip ahead now. I'll put the chapters down below so you can do that. Okay, So the first Lola Crow dropped on Friday, so we get 6 weeks to stitch this. And here is the first model picture. So it is the Avery frame, kind of some of the groundwork down below, and 2 birds. And the first birds are an American barn owl and a Pesquit's parrot, which is also called a Dracula parrot, apparently. Not a bird I know very much about, but one of the great things about this stitch is it gives you information on all the birds. So you can read the background of, you know, where they come from and what they're like. I love this as I did biology as my degree. And so it gives you even gives you the Latin names for the birds, but it tells you where they come from and a bit of background. So I am super excited to get started on this. So we get 6 weeks or so for this pattern with the kind of the frame and the Avery, and then we get and then the drops will be weekly, I think, with some gaps in between to help people catch up. So I'm really excited. I know Jason CrossStitch is going to stitch it too, and Katie, who's at Jeremiah's mum. All these people will be linked below. I had the pleasure of meeting her as well on the Zoom call with Laura, and I know that she's also stitching it, so I'm excited to stitch along. Can't wait to see kind of fabric choices and how people get along. My fabric for this is in the post, but I think I may have made a small mistake in that when I googled, the model is stitched on sandbar linen, the colour sandbar by linen by 123 Stitch, I think. But being in the UK, I wanted to source something in the UK rather than get something from abroad. And they didn't have any of the suggested fabrics. So when I Googled sandbar and then the fabric, I got a non-variegated background. I got a kind of flat sandy colour. So I found something similar and then I ordered it. And then when the model dropped, I realised, actually that background is more mottled blues and creams than it is kind of a classic creamy sand colour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for the fabric to arrive. I'm going to kit up all the flosses and the thread, and then I'm going to do a floss toss. I love that phrase. I've learned that from Flosstube. I'm going to do a floss toss, and we'll see whether I think that background is right or whether we buy something else. The material won't get wasted. I'll use it for something else. But this is such a special project and a big project that I do want to make sure the background is right. And I do think my tastes skew a bit cooler rather than warmer. I am really enjoying, you know, I want to stitch things on white backgrounds and things. So we'll see. I'm going to wait for it to arrive, and next time I talk to you, I'll let you know what I've decided to do. Okay, the spoilers are all gone now. You can come back. Plans. Let's talk plans. So I bought 2 very exciting new cross-stitch books. I know lots of people have copies of these books. Lots of people have stitched really lovely things from them, and I've loved stitching them. So I thought, do you know what? With my book vouchers, I'm going to treat myself to a couple of lovely books. So the ones that I've decided to do. So the first one is Max Pigeon's Cross-Stitch in the Forest, and I had this narrowed down to 2. So the first one is Fox and Butterflies, and I love this pattern. I think it's so beautiful. I think all of my saved patterns seem to be foxes and birds. And actually, I think people always say, do you have a favourite animal? I'm like, not really. I didn't ever think I had a favourite animal. But I've got 6 pieces of artwork in my house that have animals on. 3 are kingfishers and 2 are foxes and 1's a hare. So I think my favourite animals are probably foxes and birds and maybe kingfishers as a specific type of bird. Because all of the patterns I want to stitch on my kind of wish list, they're all foxes and birds. Anyway, this pattern is absolutely beautiful. I love it. So that one will get stitched, but it's not the one I've chosen to do. Karen at the Stitching Out has just finished this, and Lady Robin S has also just finished this, and both of their stitch ups and their full finishes are amazing and they're so lovely. So that one I'm definitely going to stitch, but it's not the one I'm going to start with. The one I'm going to start with is actually called Flight of the Flock, and it is, I'm just finding it in my book so I can see. yeah, it celebrates the snow geese that travel on their migration back from Mexico and the southern United States up towards the Arctic Circle. And I really love it. I think it's lovely. I really like the kind of negative space of the birds. So that's the one I'm going to start with from this book. I've ordered a white even weave for it, so I think that will be my. I think we'll do it on that. I think I want to stitch this one and the next one I'm going to show you just on a white, because I think the pattern's so striking on itself, then that I don't think it needs a kind of speciality like fabric underneath. So I'm excited to get started on that. And then the two I had chosen, this is Cross Stitch for the Earth from Emma Congdon, her book. The two I had narrowed it down to on this one. One is called, well, I'm not sure they don't actually have names, but I'm just going to call them what the text says. This one's called Live Gently Upon This Earth. And I really love that. I think it's really, really lovely. I love all the greens and the different kind of flower and the flowers and the little rabbit in the hair. Emma Congdon obviously does these beautiful text, and her stuff is really great. So I really love that one. So that one will be on the to-do list, but it's not the first one I'm going to start with. The first one I'm going to start with is called Go Unplug and Go Outdoors, or Go Outside. I think, yes, there we go. Unplug and go outside. So I like that. I like that a lot. I think we can all be reminded. I certainly, with my health not being great, it's a challenge to get outside every day. And so I think this is a lovely reminder. And I really loved how the Go was like, has all the you know, all the design inside it. I think that's great. I had hoped to start them both, but the material's still in the post, winging its way to me. So hopefully next time we'll have two new starts to show you on that. Challenges. I have been taking part in April challenges. So I sort of found, if you've watched last videos, see that I sort of realised there was this whole world of Facebook groups and challenges and all sorts of things happening. So in March, I did manage to do all 10 of Laura's from Stitching by the Shores, her I Spy challenge. Love that challenge because it's really relaxed and chill, and you know, no one's going to come along and tell you you've done it wrong. It's just fun. There was a lot of chat about it on the Zoom call that Laura hosted, and lots of discussion about one of the April prompts is shaped like a pretzel, and people were saying that's, you know, quite a challenge, until someone pointed out, but pretzels come in lots of different shapes, including long sticks, so you can just do a line and then you're done. So in April I'm doing two challenges. One is Laura's I Spy for April. So I've got that on the go, and then I'm also in the Facebook group Divas Down Under, and they're doing in 2025 Menagerie of Animals Old and New, and that's like their kind of big challenge, big stitch count monthly challenges. They also do 2 weekly ones. They're doing an Easter egg hunt at the moment, which is really fun. But I'm doing the kind of big stitch challenges. The challenge in itself is to do 10,000 stitches. I don't count my stitches because I'm not using Pattern Keeper or anything like that. I mark my stitches mostly off using the highlighter function on an iPad. So if you go to your photos and then you go edit, there's like a highlighter function. You can just swipe and mark them off that way. That's how I'm keeping track of my digital patterns. So if you don't stitch kind of knowing your stitch counts, you can stitch 1 hour for 100 stitches. So 10,000 stitches means you have to stitch 100 hours in a month, which is never going to happen. I'm never going to get 100 hours. I do think that a lot of my patterns probably I'm stitching a little bit more than 100 stitches, but who knows? I don't know. For example, the Kingfisher piece, so this is like 140 by 140 with a little bit of gap where the background shows through, and the CrossStitch magazine says that it should take about 90 hours, which obviously if it's 18,000 stitches, then 90 hours would be 200 an hour rather than. I don't know if that's underestimated or kind of optimistic stitch stitch hours in the magazine, or whether genuinely you can stitch at 200 an hour. But anyway, I don't mind. I am doing these challenges not to finish them. I'm doing them just because it's fun. So I don't know, maybe I'll get to 3,000 stitches or 5,000 stitches in the equivalent hours, but yeah, it's okay. I also really like Divas Down Under because the challenges can be quite specific. So one there's sort of 11 prompts. One of them this month, some of them this month are a stitch on a shark or a predator, stitch on something with horse or berries, stitch on something with one of them's a pig or a hippo. That one's hard. And because my whip count is not very high, I'm trying to keep it down. I can't fulfill all the prompts, but you can do a penalty stitch. So at the beginning of the month, you nominate a certain project that you want to work on. So mine is my Kingfishers, because I'm all in on that at the moment. And if you can't meet a prompt, you can stitch on your penalty stitch. So I'm using my Kingfisher for that. One of the prompts for April is something that gives you the terrors. And for that one, I have nominated my Blackwork Turtle. And I love this project. I haven't shown it to you recently or since my first video. I love it, but I have stalled on it. It's a bit of a brain ache. I'm doing it 1/1 on a 20 count even weave. And blackwork is new to me, and I think it takes a little bit more concentration than normal cross stitch. So I've nominated that one because I want to give it a few more hours in April, if I can, if I'm well enough. So, I think that's everything I have for you today. Thank you for listening in. Please do let me know what you've been stitching on or what you're working on at the moment. If you're stitching the Extraordinary Birds stitch along, let us know, because I'd love to kind of follow along what other people are doing. And my note of positivity to end on today, I've had some really lovely comments from people who are also dealing with chronic illness stuff. And I just wanted to send some good health vibes out there to everyone. We all wish for happiness and health for all of us. And I hope that your cross stitching is bringing you comfort, or watching Flosstube is as well. I'm listening to an audiobook at the moment, very slowly, but I am getting there. It's called Permission to Rest by Ashley Neese. And its ethos is that building rest into your everyday life is good for all of us. So you don't need anyone's permission to do anything, but if you do feel like someone's permission to take a break and to stop and to rest would be useful, you have my permission today. It's okay to stop, it's okay to rest. And rest will rejuvenate us, hopefully. All right, I will see you again soon. Thank you for joining me today. Bye.